Guys, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying. This is the 99 days of value. My name is Ugo. Your name is Blessed, aka Mr. Tickzon, and I hope you're doing good. So back with the 99 days of value, day 16. And today, obviously, if for those who don't know, this 99 days of value, where from when the day we started, the 99 days running up to the end of the year, including and notwithstanding the first day of the new year, to say you guys off, we're going to add 99 pieces of value to your life. So hopefully this add value to your life. And today we're going to be talking about something that is more important than money. So in the previous day of value, we told you that your most important asset is time. And the one we're going to be talking today may even be more important than time, but to some extent it's coinciding with time and can also be argued as a function of time. But ultimately we can control, similar to the circle of control that we spoke about. What we have control over is what we have control over. Now, this is essentially health. Health is probably, I guess, your most important asset beyond time. So it's interesting. We've already spoken. Money is an interesting thing. We'll speak about in another day of value. But we've already qualified that time is more important than money, and also qualified that your health is more important than money. And so, if I was to ask you, if I was to trade to you now to have long life, maybe living on like, I don't know, 10K a year, versus a million, but you have like a couple of terminal diseases, I'm sure at least me, I'll pick the 10K and try and make my way up, but at least have my health. There's a saying that says you spend your a lot of people sacrifice their health trying to gain their wealth, but then when they finally get their wealth, they sacrifice their wealth trying to get back their health. Now, ultimately, when it comes to this thing called life, as I've mentioned in the previous video, tomorrow is not promised. Now, if tomorrow was promised, then ultimately we wouldn't go anywhere. We would be here and forever staying. And ultimately, the quantity of life is one thing. A lot of people pray for long life, but having a long life is not necessarily the big marker of anything. Realistically, it's more the quality of your life. It's interesting when you talk about like people who may have lived a relatively short life, like let's say this Black History Month, so the Martin Luther Kings and Malcolm X's, that lived a relatively short life based on how they left, but the quality of their life that they lived meant that they had made an impact today. Again, for people who are religious, Jesus was 33, so relatively short, and then he's still impacting today to 2000, and it goes throughout in terms of different figures in life and in history. But ultimately what we're talking about now is your quality of life, because you can have quantity, but quality is ultimately there. And this is where there's certain things that we have, there's limitations to whatever, but ultimately our health is something that we have a lot of control over, depending on the choices we're willing to make, and how we kind of live our life. And ultimately, being young and whatnot, or being relatively older, or being in your middle age, wherever you are in life, we can all kind of put our effort into making sure that we're living a healthier life. Because ultimately, there's small habits that we get away with in the interim, because it's not affecting us now, but our health is one of those ones. It's a domino effect. It's like the compound interest effect. Is that when it hits you, it's already too late. Most people kind of wait till they have a life or death situation, or that their health is seriously in jeopardy, to make the small little changes in their life that would actually help them kind of get their health in track. Now, when it comes to like health, typically I talk to people around it being, there's physical, emotional, spiritual, emotional, I used to be asked by her, how you doing emotionally, physically, mentally, in your relationships and all these things. But ultimately, to say that every aspect of your life kind of intertwines in order to make this kind of bow. So if you're not suffering mentally, then you can see that kind of come out physically, and that you look physically emaciated. If you're not exercising or you're not going outside, similarly, you can see that it kind of, all these things play out in other aspects of your life, not necessarily. So that's why they kind of become intertwined. You're becoming sick more, that could be due to you not sleeping correctly. Things that if you're an athlete, if you're not sleeping well, or you're just doing a lot of exercise, you see that you're not recovering well. That's why you're getting more injuries. Again, if you're not well in your relationships, the quality of your relationships, that can actually affect your health physically in terms of how you deal with it and the anxiety that comes through it. Anxiety can be an anxiety attack is actually a physical response to an emotional something that's happened to you emotionally. And so doing little changes around what you eat, how you kind of shape the quality of relationships, how you kind of try to establish balance into your life in terms of trying to have a work-life balance. And when I talk about work-life balance, I'm not saying, living your best life and then in that regards, I'm talking about work. It's like work hard, play hard, work harder, then play even harder. Like, it's kind of like each of them should be counterbalancing each other. So when it comes to health, there's simple things that we all can do. Try to exercise. And when I say exercise, I'm not talking about, I'm saying like your heartbeat goes up, your blood pressure rises, and you actually get warm, because there's a difference between movement and exercise. If you're just moving, you're not exercising. So to some extent, but you can start by the basics. If you've not been moving, start moving, and then graduate from moving to exercising, resistance training, anaerobic exercise, a mixture. In terms of our food, we could try our best, because again, when it comes to our health, it also comes down to other aspects of our life and choices that we've made in terms of, like when I said, managing your time. If you don't know how to cook, and we're going to do a whole day dedicated to around cooking, but if you don't know how to cook, learn 5 dishes. Start with 3. Most things become actually cheaper. It doesn't feel cheaper when you're buying it, but if you actually add it all up, it becomes cheaper when you're cooking, and it becomes healthier when you're cooking, because, so if you learn 3 dishes, you're at somewhere there. Go for 3 dishes, then go to 5 dishes. Learn how to just make one sauce, and then, you can mix it, you can have it with rice, pasta, spaghetti, or obviously spaghetti is a type of pasta, but you get what I'm trying to say. And then, get 1 beans kind of situation, get 1 stir fry kind of situation. You got 3 there. Then mix it up. Do a little bit of easy baking, and then mix it up. Obviously, we are people that like convenience. We like ease, so that's why we go for, like, the microwave dinners, and we go out to the chippy, and then we order in the Uber Eats and the Deliveroo, and we get the Deliveroo Plus, and we've got 5 stars on Uber Eats. But ultimately, both in terms of financial, and this is where all things come all circle, we're spending so much money on eating out that it's at times every order is at least £20, including delivery fee, that what you ordered in a week could easily get to £200 because you needed to eat. But then when it comes to the end of the month, it puts on financial pressure, which can cause you mental anxiety. And then that means that you're no longer bothered to go and, exercise. You're no longer bothered to go and see friends. And then ironically, when you're going through a mental health issue, or most of us kind of do what is counterproductive, which is, when you're mentally depressed, you kind of withdraw yourself, when most times what you need is kind of human contact. So in terms of how we kind of put ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, obviously if you're in toxic situations, those things are not good for your health. If you're not trying to establish balance in terms of, okay, I've got my work, but what about your quality time with your friends? What about the quality time with your family? What about the time, trying new things? What about hobbies? What about your alone time? Which is all important, because again, the biggest killer is stress. It is the very biggest killer. And then obviously try to cut out vices where you can. It's not the easiest things, but obviously drugs and all the alcohol and everything in moderation. Don't just, ultimately when it comes to your health, is the important things that you should be conscious about it. We take for granted that we go to bed expecting we wake up tomorrow, but there's no guarantee that we are going to wake up tomorrow. When we go to sleep, we're unconscious. We don't know what's even going to happen. And so essentially the value that I'm hoping to add is maybe just a reminder that, look, we've lived an okay life, regardless of how, whether good or bad, that you may have felt that you've lived up to now. But ultimately, the quality of the life you live, not in terms of just in this aspect, I'm not talking in terms of what you do with other people. I'm talking about how you feel about yourself, feeling good about yourself, and being able to do the things you want to do. A lot of people, when age starts catching up with you and your hips are not moving the same way, your knees are not moving the same way, some people kind of go down. But instead of you looking at that as a negative, look at it as more of a call for action for you to overcome that thing that is trying to bring you down. So my main message is, in every aspect of your life, whether that be emotionally, physically, mentally, in your relationships, financially, sexually, spiritually, in all the alleys, all of these kind of intertwine. And if you're not healthy in one aspect of it, or they can knock on the effect onto other things. So kind of do an audit of your life in those aspects. Ask yourself, am I doing more? Am I doing enough to kind of keep myself going? Taking yourself into account. Now, obviously, ultimately, you make your choices, but ultimately, like for example, smoking is a good one. Some people, they're smoking for the whole of their life, and they never get it. But some people use 2 puffs and then something bad happens. Ultimately, all you can do when it comes to health is that you will get ill at some point in time. But ultimately, don't do what you can do to contribute to make it harder for you, because ultimately, we want to live a good life, quality in which that we don't, we're able to kind of not necessarily become a burden on our loved ones, because the choices you make today may lead to you not being in a good position. Now, obviously, there's situations that come, and health is one of those ones that comes at you, swings and roundabouts, but all you can do is what you can do. So drink water. Make sure you're taking in enough protein. Some people are on high carb diets, taking in carbs, taking in the fats and oils, everything in moderation. Don't try and starve yourself. If you're hungry, eat. Obviously, try to eat at least 2 hours before bed, because it gives you a better quality of sleep. Make sure you're having fiber in there. Make sure you're taking in your insoluble and non-soluble fibers. If you are deficient in any vitamins, go take your vitamins. They're important. Get your vitamin C is a daily one. It kind of washes out your system every day. That's why you need to take it out every day, because we have soluble ones. There's ones that don't, like iron, don't take too much. For my brothers and sisters of the darker melanin situation, vitamin D deficiency is there. Take the tablets, and drink the water, but also make sure you're replenishing your electrolytes. So you get a little water, a little bit of squash, a little bit of salt. Drink that. It will help you retain more water. Try to have better quality sleep. Try to reduce the amount of stress. Try to manage it better. Ask for help, and try to bring balance into your life, because ultimately your health is your most important thing. So ultimately, maybe this one was more longer than it needed to be, but sometimes you just need a reminder that, listen, tomorrow's not promised, and you may have had challenges in terms of addressing aspects of your health now, but if you do a little bit, just a little bit every day, learn how to just make one source, go outside, spend some alone time, go for a walk, and then start from there, and then maybe lift weights or go jogging, or to make it more interesting for yourself, join a sport, do it with other people, and don't do all these things alone. Obviously, with everything that is coming in life, you don't have to do it alone. Things are easier when you do it with somebody. So get a gym buddy, get a cooking buddy, get an exercise buddy, get all, join classes, make it fun for yourself, because ultimately a lot of these things seem jarring because they're not that interesting. So spruce it out for yourself, make it fun, and try and make sure that your health is very important for you. Ultimately, we've gone through a period of time where if you were vulnerable in a health point of view, the quote unquote illness or disease or C19 was more easily able to get you. And obviously some people made changes in their life at that point in time to kind of make sure that they're addressing their health issues. And so hopefully I'm asking for you to do the same. Now look, being healthy is not something you can see with the eye. There's enough people who look healthy, but they're not necessarily healthy. There's a lot of people who look fit, but they're not necessarily fit. If you walk up and down your stairs 2 times, let's see how out of breath you are. It's a trains and roundabout. But provided that you're going to try to walk up those steps to try and make it there, those who get to the end are those who start the race, and those who try their best to keep moving in the race, even though it varies in the pace. So when it comes to addressing your health is more important than your wealth. So don't sacrifice your health right now for wealth, because that gamble might not pay off, and then later on you might be regretting it because you were spending all your wealth on trying to get on your health. So hopefully that is added value to your life. It's important. You're important. You make a difference by just being here and trying to show the world who you are. So hopefully you have a nice day. You have a nice week. This is number 16, and tune in for 17, where we'll talk again. My name's been Ugo. Your name's been Blessed. And I want to wish you a beautiful evening. Bye. Beautiful evening. Beautiful evening. Or afternoon. Or morning. Whenever this gets out.